This is Feature Mine, and in today's video, I'm going to review the Secret Invasion series that Marvel put out. And so this series stars Samuel L. Jackson, and entertainment-wise, I would say it's okay. I'll probably give it like a C plus, maybe even a B minus. I actually expected it to be a little better than it was, so I was a little bit disappointed with how it moved along, and I just thought it was going to be a little more exciting, but it was okay. I mean, it was a pretty good storyline. And so the clues I picked up in the movie, though, well, it's actually a series, so the clues I picked up in the series was basically, it reminded me of that movie They Live, where these, well, I guess they called them aliens, maybe. I don't remember. Or was it the fallen ones? Either way, they're kind of pretty much one and the same. I mean, that's my opinion, is that any reports on aliens is actually talking about the fallen. So with Secret Invasion, you could almost do the same type of thing with that, where, okay, there's these Skrulls, and you could almost see them as the fallen. But I mean, they didn't want to show you that in the series. They kind of want to act like they were from another place and they were good people, and they ended up on Earth, but they actually ended up calling others behind their backs because Samuel allowed maybe, what was it, probably a few hundred to stay on Earth. And then over the next couple decades, they had been calling others, and the others had been secretly coming to Earth as well. And it turned out there was like millions, I guess, that was walking amongst us on Earth. But no one really knew that because they shapeshift into humanoid form. So they look like regular people. And then, so basically, the Skrulls ended up coming up with this plan, because one of them was the leader, and he was very angry with Nick Fury about some things. I mean, I guess he thought he betrayed him or something, and basically he came up with this plan, and they started kidnapping leaders around the world and taking their form and replacing them, so no one knew they had been replaced. So they were just walking amongst. Oh yeah, this is a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen it and you plan on seeing it, you might have some things in this video that will spoil the show for you, so that's your warning. Anyways, so these Skrulls were replacing leaders and people all across the country, well, across the world, in different positions of authority. And they had this devious plan to take over the Earth, though. So they were setting up people and doing things that would get people in trouble. They were like committing acts of crime and all types of stuff against others. In the image, though, they were Skrulls, but it looked like, so for example, Nick Fury, it looked like he had did something to his partner Hill, because Hill was his sidekick. So basically he took her out. Nick Fury took her out, but it wasn't Nick Fury. It was actually a Skrull in the image of Nick Fury. So the Skrulls were doing little stuff like that, and basically they were going to just get this world in chaos with their deception. And they had a plan to get America to, well, first of all, they tried to take out the president, and then when that didn't work, they tried to convince the president to go to war with Russia. And it was kind of interesting because that kind of was kind of realistic, that part, where Russia and America. And so the president trusted his assistant, who was Rhodey, and Rhodey was actually a Skrull, and the president didn't know that. So Rhodey was in the ear of the president and able to set him up. He's the one who set the president up, and he was responsible for convincing the president to go to war with Russia. And so basically he wanted this real bad, and the president trusted Rhodey because he knew him for years. So he had no idea he was a Skrull. So in the end, it got exposed finally that the Skrulls were infiltrating positions of authority, because Samuel Jackson was trying to explain that to the president. The president didn't quite believe him until it was a pretty intense standoff, to where he finally saw that Nick Fury was correct and being honest. He was trying to warn the president, hey, your sidekick, your assistant is a Skrull. So once the president finally realized that, he declared that, okay, it's time to take them all out. And then the Skrulls were exposed from that point, and people across the world started taking out different politicians and different media people. And every time they took them out, you would see them change into their real form. So that's the part that reminded me of the They Live movie, where, yeah, the people in the media and officials were all actually not human. And that explains why they would want to do things to people where people just trust them so much. People trust these leaders and authority figures so much, and they think they have their best interests. But, this movie was showing that these were actually Skrulls that were, in charge. So why would you trust them? These are deceivers, and people just needed to figure that out. And when they did, it looked like a bunch of chaos, because everyone, like I said, started going wild and taking out all the, all these authorities and media figures, and they were actually Skrulls. And then some people were not even Skrulls. So they would, I guess, because there's no real way to know who was who. So they just started taking anyone out. And that's when the movie, the series left off, is where basically it looks like the world was becoming chaotic, because the president declared what was going on. He said this is an invasion. That's why they call the movie Secret Invasion, because basically no one knew they were infiltrated. So all these, I see a lot of similarities in the real world, because I believe people really overly trust a lot of authority, and it's like they have no idea that these authority figures could have ulterior motives. And so with Donald Marshall, the clone guy, he's a clone expert, he made a mention about shapeshifters before, also David Icke, and he's saying like some people are reptilians. And that's kind of where I see clues in real life with the Secret Invasion series, because there's been reports that people could shapeshift, and even the fallen one himself in the Garden of Eden. I mean, it sounded kind of like he was able to convince Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge, because she trusted him. So maybe that implies some type of shape-shifting type being as well, because when I looked into the Lost Paradise series, it said the fallen one was shape-shifting to spy on the earth, and he was turning into birds and different animals, and even a snake type creature. So it sounded like the fallen one had the ability to shape-shift in this Lost Paradise literature. And so the thing with the Lost Paradise literature is that's not actually considered canon or anything with biblical documents, but there was some very interesting things to be discovered in the Lost Paradise literature. So I did review that. So go back and check that out if you missed it. But basically, yeah, I mean, with shapeshifters, I think that could be a thing. I mean, the They Live, it shows us that the people like wanting to tell us what to do, and the media, and who are these people, and are they even people? And I wouldn't be surprised if there is some type of shape-shifting thing going on in this world where, it could be literal shape-shifting people. I mean, there's even, isn't it like the jinn or something? So there's some religious cultures that even talk about some type of shape-shifting beings. So it's possible. I mean, I wouldn't be super surprised if there's something to do with shape-shifting in real life. I mean, we saw people's eyes like turn into reptilian type eyes before, and I saw people's necks blowed out like a frog, and it's like serpentine type people that are in the form of humans, it looks like. And I've seen eyes flip back and forth. Now with the video, you never know if this stuff's real or not. They can do so much with video these days, so you never know if any of that footage is real. But I mean, there was clips taken from actual news broadcasts before, and these are official news broadcasts. I don't want to say the names of these news companies because, I mean, they don't like too much information out there. But, especially in the days when YouTube you were allowed to show all that stuff. And, there's all types of people showing clips, and they would show well-known news people and their eyes would change and then flip back, and weird stuff would happen with these people. And so even the other day, there was a well-known politician. I don't know if I should say his name, but he just froze. And, he was speaking, and then he just froze. So there's some weird stuff going on with these politicians, and I believe also the news people. And if you're wondering why would anybody want to do such things to humanity, I mean, it's because, well, the Bible tells us that that fallen one is here to steal. Well, I can't even say what he said, because I mean the language used is stuff that the algorithm doesn't like. But I guess I'll say it's steal, kill, and destroy. Okay, so they said the fallen one is down here like a raging lion, and so who else would want to do such things to humanity? Well, we have our answer, and that adds credibility more. It shows us that the Bible is actually trying to warn us about stuff like that. And that there's people down here that probably don't have our best interests. And most likely these are the ones, a lot of these people are seeking positions of authority. So, yeah, like I said, I mean, it was a pretty well crafted storyline. I think I like the storyline better than the actual series for the Secret Invasion. I really enjoyed the storyline. And as far as the pacing, I mean, look, like I said, C+, B-, maybe more B-. I mean, it was a pretty decent series. Not much of a series person, really, but I mean, I'll check out movies every once in a while and series and stuff like that just for entertainment. And I like to find clues. A lot of the things I like to watch, I like to look for clues in them. So, anyways, yeah, that's my review of the Secret Invasion series, the Marvel series on Disney Plus. And so, yeah, that's about it for today. Let me know if you checked it out. Let me know what you think about it as well, or if there's any clues that you picked up on while watching the series. I'm gonna leave some links for you if you want to do more research with me on movies and secret clues in movies and stuff like that. I got a whole playlist on that stuff. So I'll also leave a link to my other channels, my social media, my free email newsletters, my Feed Your Mind store, and much more. If you would like to support this channel, please donate as little as $1 to help keep this channel online. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This is Big Feed Your Mind signing off.